Well, going back to Legends of the Guard, you were saying that it's going to be an anthology series, and from what I understand, some of your friends, some of the people who did pinups in the back of the books are going to be working on art. So who all can we expect on this?
Jeremy Bastian, who did he did 2 pinups in the fall.
He did some
series.
amazing work on pinups.
Yeah, and he does beautiful work. I have the pleasure of sitting next to him every Thursday. We get together and draw, and some other people too. Jeremy's work is just phenomenal. And it was actually when Jeremy turned in his, and Mark Smiley, who does Artesia at Archaea.
Yeah.
And he turned in his pinup as well. I told both of them, you guys have like a blank check to go do whatever it is you want in Mouse Guard World anytime you want. You guys can play. I like what you did, and I think you got it. You got the sense of what Mouse Guard is. So yeah, Jeremy and Mark were first on the list because they were kind of what inspired it. And then some of the people were people that I'd love to get, because I also like their work with done pinups, people like Craig Rousseau. And some of the names, unfortunately, I'm going to name some of the names, and I'm not positive that everybody is confirmed, and most of that is just because of schedule.
Right.
To find out when other people have time to draw this other story for Mouse Guard and how it conflicts with whatever their regular project is. Craig is one that I don't think we've confirmed. I know I've talked to him in person, and he said, oh, I'd love to do it, sign me up. Gene Ha is somebody who completely came out of the woodwork.
That would be amazing,
Yeah. Rumor was starting to get around that I was going to be doing this, and the goal is I want to handpicking these people.
Right.
This is my baby, and I want to make sure that these people are competent storytellers and artists and the whole bit. In fact, we're trying to get people who are both writers and artists on their own books or their own projects in one person. That's not exclusive, though. There have been some artists who come forward and say, I'm much more comfortable with a writer. Can I bring on a writer friend? I'm fine with that. But the idea is to bring in these really cool storyteller people that also fit the Mouse Guard world.
Yeah.
And so Gene had not been on my list. He didn't really come to mind because he's a DC superhero guy.
Yeah.
Not known for doing animal stories or medieval-looking stuff or anything like that. But like I said, the rumor had kind of gotten out there, and he came over to my table at the Windy City Con in Chicago. He said, "Well, I hear you're going to be doing this thing, and I'd like to be a part of it if I could." And I was like, "Wow, let's stay in touch." And by the time I got home from that trip, he had sent me samples of an animal webcomic that he and a buddy of his had been working on.
Oh, nice.
To kind of like, his tryout. Look, I can do animals too. I can do this kind of.
Not just a Capes and Tights guy.
Yeah, totally. And I want to say he fought for it. He really, he had sold me as soon as he said I want to do it.
And that's a guy that's worked with Alan Moore and some of the most legendary creators in the entire industry.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, incredible. As soon as he said he wanted to do it, I was pretty much on board. But every step of the way, he sent me sketches he sent the webcomic thing, and then at another point after we talked over some story stuff, he sent sketches of his story, he sent thumbnails.
That's amazing.
He sent a coloring sample of one of his, this is how I plan on coloring it. Is that okay with you? Yes, Gene, yes, go. Because for the most part, I want to try to stay out of this as much as possible. Part of the goal, selfishly, is that this gets more Mouse Guard stuff out there to the fans without me having to do anywhere near as much work. But obviously, we're getting some really cool people to do some good work for it, for the fans. And while I want to remain involved, I'm doing covers, I'm doing pages in between the guest stories, stuff like that. I really didn't want to over-edit this thing.
So you weren't approving the plots or anything like that, making sure it stays.
I kind of wanted to approve. My goal was approve the artists and then approve their general plot.
Yeah.
And then just let them go.
Well, I think they're probably coming to you because you're one of the few creators who handles every single aspect of your book.
It's flattering.
Yeah.
It's flattering that they appreciate that or respect that or find what I do worth asking for the approval on. I'm totally flattered by it. I'm not really complaining. I just thought it was funny that.
Yeah. Well, and that ties back to like I was saying, you handle every aspect of the book. A lot of it is it's almost like a grassroots, small publisher book that's released on a very big scale because Archaea has done a very good job promoting it and really getting it out there. And it's kind of astounding. It's such a throwback feel to a book for such a big scale, and I think that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's a book that I think people care about, and I care about it, so I put a lot of work into it. Archaea cares about it, and believed in it. They believed in it from the minute go. In fact, I found out from when I got the contract with Archaea, it was Mark Smiley, who does Artesia,
Mm-hmm.
and then his business partner, Aki Lau, that were kind of in charge of the company at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And I showed the book to Mark, who really I was only showing it to him because he had given me a portfolio review years before.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't even looking for a publisher seriously.
Yeah.
I was just going to talk to a publisher and see what he thought. And Mark had given me an excellent portfolio review, and I mean that not in the sense that he gushed over my work, but in the sense that he was really fair and honest and gave me good advice on what to improve,
right.
what I was already doing right, who I could look at for examples, who I should talk to in the future, that kind of thing. So like I said, I go to Mark and I show him this, and he seems interested, but I found out later he had shown it to his business partner, Aki, and said, like, as soon as I walk away from the booth, turned to Aki and said, "We have to publish this book." And Aki, at that point, they were just starting out. They had just started publishing other books besides Artesia. He said, "We already have our publishing schedule locked down for the next year. No, we're not doing another book. That's, maybe in a year we'll reinvestigate." And Mark said, "We're publishing this book." And it's that belief that Mark had that this thing could be something.
Great.
And then the same with comic book stores. It's a funny size. And that first week that it came out, we heard a little bit of griping from store owners and fans saying, "How do I bag and board this?
I have to admit, I've never actually figured that out.
How do I display this?" And but they all just kind of went along with it anyways because they liked it and because they again believed in the book.
Yeah.
And it's that belief with fans and everyone right up through me that I believe in the book and do what I can to make it as good as I can.
Well, it really is an amazing book, and we try to support as much as humanly possible at Multiversity. I guess I just have one more question for you. And it's just one of those rumors you hear. We've heard inklings of movie talk. Is there anything like that going on?
Yeah, we're talking.
Oh.
Yes, I've been talking to a studio. I have a producer on board. And the idea was to come up with the right kind of pitch and then go to the studio. I've been in talks with a studio that's really excited to do a Mouse Guard movie. I'm really excited if they do a Mouse Guard movie. They introduced me to who would be the potential director.
Oh, wow.
And that director brought with him at the meeting that I was at with them concept art.
Wow.
For how he saw a Mouse Guard movie looking. And totally sold me. I mean, I was kind of going in to that meeting really 50-50 on whether or not I really wanted to do this whole Hollywood thing or stick with there was some worry over it. And ultimately I saw those and went, yeah, this is the guy. This is the guy. This is the group.
That's awesome.
But obviously there's a whole lot of legalities and paperwork and all that kind of stuff. So lawyers are talking to lawyers. Numbers are being crunched.
The wheels are turning.
The wheels are turning. So nothing's in stone. I can't say anything yet. You hear the rumors about Hollywood.
Yeah.
Somebody gets the yes, they announce something, and then the next day, somebody blinked wrong, and the whole thing falls apart.
Exactly.
So
If somebody sneezes, the next thing you know, Daniel Craig is getting replaced as the next Bond.
Right.
Something like that.
Right.
That's what happens in Hollywood.
Yeah. All of a sudden, Don Cheadle is somebody else. Yeah, I'm just, I'm hopeful. I like what's been set up. If we can make that happen, that's awesome. At the same time, if something doesn't happen, as much as I would love it to happen, my job is making graphic novels.
Yep.
And so that's what I'm going to keep doing.
Yeah, I don't remember who it was. I think it was Cameron Stewart, and he was talking on Twitter about how a lot of creators these days don't look at comics as an art form. They look at it as something they can present to a studio.
Pitch. It's a pitch, yeah.
And that's very cool to hear. So, well, you know what? Thank you so much for sitting down with us. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
This is our first interview, and we really appreciate it. And best of luck in all of your future work.
Thank you.